Good evening, everyone. Today is Friday, July 25th, 2025. This is your update for Monday the 30th. All right, let's go. Well, as far as official setups, let's stick with this OUST for now. As usual, wait for entries. There are more and more stocks that are becoming more and more interesting, so we should see plenty of setups really soon. Okay, day overall in the portfolio after a weak start. We'll get to that in just 1 second. Still like this OUST, of course, again, and as usual, wait for an entry on that one. A lot of interesting stocks beginning to set up. A lot of volatile stocks, too. That's the kind of market we're in, this momentum. The momentum stocks are really looking pretty good for now. But let's just stick with, speaking of for now, let's just stick with the OUST. But again, we could see more and more setups, quite a few more setups fairly soon. Let's take a look at the portfolio, and then we'll pop out to the overall market. BTM kind of flatsville after a bit of a dip, hanging in there. You know me, I sure like to see it bang out some new highs sooner rather than later. KGC having an okay day, not too far away from those all-time highs. Speaking of all-time highs, KTOS managed to close right at all-time highs. If it keeps on keeping on, then obviously we'll start to cinch that stop up on that one. TFPM, tiny bits of a gain, better than a poke in the eye, I suppose. A little sideways as of late, but as long as it goes up bases, and keeps doing that, rinse and repeat, I'll be okay with that. TGen, not a bad day there. Of course, I'd like to see it bang out some new highs sooner rather than later, but looking pretty good so far coming out of that pullback. VG, this one's not fantastic, but it did end up a smidge today. Maybe it's beginning to stabilize. Bigger picture, though, it still looks like a bottom is in place. Additional weakness, though, would be of concern. Let's take a look at the overall market and drill down a little bit. First of all, S&P 500. Not a bad day there, 0.4%, much better than a poke in the eye. So far, this fairly persistent uptrend remains intact, as you can see. Nice little move higher. So far, so good. And hey, close at all-time highs. So as a trend guy, I'm not going to argue with that. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ Composite also closed at all-time highs, up about 0.25%. A nice little persistent uptrend remains intact here, too. Rusty 2000, dipped a little bit, but did manage to close in the plus column. Still below some overhead supply. You know me, I like to see it push through that with a little bit of vigor. And hey, while we're wishing for things, I'd like to see it make some new highs. But overall, still looking okay. Take a look at the EFA shares. A little bit of an opening gap reversal, just back up slightly above their breakout point. If they take out today's low, that would be of concern. But for now, they're looking okay. Robotics down a little, but just off of these brand new highs. You know me, I like to see them clear this prior peak decisively. Do not look back for a while. Pot stocks continue to bottom out. As you can see, a little bit of overhead supply to deal with, but it's bottoming out nonetheless. The other ETFs here, such as YOLO, had pretty big days. Take a look at gold. The commodity getting whacked a little. Not too bad, but a little, getting hit a little nonetheless. Getting stuck. It's become stuck in a range for now. That's not necessarily a bad thing. But again, you know me, I like to see them break out and not look back. The good news is gold stocks looking a little bit better than gold overall. Not too far from these brand new highs. Decent day there. So it looks like it's going to make another attempt to break out. Most areas still look pretty good. Biotech, bit of a dip, came back after a bit of a dip and still has some overhead supply to overcome. Again, though, as I would say, quite a bit. Still seeing a lot of momentum internally. A lot of stocks there in the Landry list. Some of them showing up on the Landry list and the Landry 100. Take a look at IGV. Managed to close at all-time high, so finally getting away from this prior little peak in here. So that's certainly, obviously a good thing. Defense, brand new all-time highs. Not going to argue with that. Nice persistent uptrend so far remaining intact there. Lithium up a little bit. That's closing at new multi-month highs. So that's certainly a good thing there. Other rare earths, such as uranium, off a little, but so far remaining in a serious uptrend. Metals overall, just up a smidge, but not too far away from brand new highs. So that sector obviously remaining at an uptrend. Financials had a decent day, up nearly 0.75%. That's enough to keep them at all-time highs. And now we're beginning to get away from this prior little peak. So that's certainly, obviously a good thing there. Semiconductors, they've been lagging a little bit compared to some of these other areas. But longer term, still look pretty darn good. Down a smidge today if you squint your eyes. But so far, so good. And just right above this prior little peak. Again, I'd like to see him clear that peak and not look back for a while. Silver got whacked fairly hard. This is more of kind of a knockout move, though. I wouldn't get too excited just yet. Obviously, if it keeps dropping, then that would be of some concern. But so far, again, it just looks like a knockout move and longer-term uptrend remaining intact. Broker-dealer closed at all-time high, so that's certainly a good thing there. I think that's pretty much it. In general, things continue to improve. Obviously, take things, here comes, one day at a time. Everybody have a fantastic weekend. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email at david@davidlandry.com or hit me up on Facebook. Thank you so much, and again, have a great weekend.